basketball. A sport that I both love
Gets it to LeBron for three for the win.
Yes!
and hate.
Shoot it. Shoot the ball.
Morris has it. Throws it in.
No!
Throws it out of bounds.
No! No!
If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 800.
When I was a kid, I would watch literally any movie with a basketball on the cover. When I was a kid, I also thought Salvador Dali was one of the Dalai Lamas. That was actually a lot more recent than I care to admit. The point is, kids are stupid and so am I. But I'm not a kid anymore. I'm a bitter 25-year-old who plays basketball maybe like 5 times a year at this point. So now that I'm no longer the target audience for over half these movies, I figured it was the perfect time to find out which ones still hold up and which one holds the most up. Consider this your not-so-comprehensive guide to the wasteland that is basketball cinema. Now, these movies run the gamut from super corny to straight up depressing, and from actually pretty good to why the fuck is a werewolf playing basketball? So the first thing we gotta do is weed out the bad ones. The thing about basketball movies is that's most of them. So bear with me and just be thankful that you weren't the one who had to suffer through all 94 minutes of Thunderstruck. Just got like 20 dislikes from Katie's burner accounts. The main category here is movies with gimmicks, so prominent that it requires its own subcategories, like the ones where a kid finds a magic pair of shoes and becomes a basketball god. Yes, there are 2 of them. Both phenomenal. Honestly, the original Like Mike is pretty decent. It's got some solid performances and fun cameos.
Actually, for my niece.
What's her name?
It's Dirk.
It's still a goofy-ass kids movie, but it's got heart, and it knows exactly what it is. The sequel, however, does everything in its power to earn that straight-to-DVD status.
Hey, we came up with your nickname.
Oh yeah, you know how your dad used to be Double J?
Right. Well, you should be
Triple J.
They're the ones with NBA players acting in them, obvious one being Space Jam. Let me tell you something about this movie, man. The cinematography... Nah, I'm playing. I'm not about to analyze Space Jam as if it's a real movie and not just a commercial for Michael Jordan on retiring. The first time. This movie is basically impervious to criticism. You can tell me it's bad and I agree, but no matter what flaw you want to point out, it doesn't matter, bro. This movie has Bugs Bunny and Danny DeVito. Bill Murray's in this movie.
Because I'm white, isn't it?
You can tell me Michael Jordan's a terrible actor and you're right, but no one cares because it's Michael Jordan in a movie. That's what separates Space Jam from shit like Thunderstruck. 30 dislikes. People don't like Space Jam because it's a good movie. They like it because of MJ. And KD is no MJ. 40 dislikes. And as much as I love LeBron, neither is he. He may be a slightly better actor, but that doesn't stop Space Jam 2 from being yet another lame attempt at one-upping Michael Jordan. I hope kids enjoy this movie, but no matter how many Rick and Morty or Casablanca references you force into Space Jam for some reason,
You got baggage, lady.
you're never going to be able to repeat the hyper-specific chain of events that somehow led to the original being as iconic as it is. I'll say it again. People like Space Jam because they like Mike. These guys just want to be like Mike, but Mike is Mike, so like Mike is the most like Mike. Speaking of like Mike,
Everybody wanna be like Mike, but Mike wanna be like L.
check Mike. There's also Uncle Drew, which is not nearly as bad as Thunderstruck,
50, Kitty. 50!
but Uncle Drew is more of a kinda funny sketch/YouTube prank type character. It shouldn't be a movie. There aren't enough legs for 90 minutes of this shit.
Oh, my nuts.
In fact, there's only one good movie where an actual NBA player stars as one of the main characters. Uncut Gems doesn't count because it's not really about basketball, it's about gambling on basketball.
No!
And that feeling you get when you've been going commando for like a week because you're lazy, and then you finally get off your ass to do your laundry and your machine makes whatever annoying ass noise it was programmed to make sure you know it's done.
Shut the hell up!
Then at long last, you reach that glorious moment where you get to put on a fresh pair of underwear straight out the dryer.
Holy shit, I'm gonna come.
But Kevin Garnett actually kills it here. Just something about that Celtics Big Three, man. Yeah, you know what movie I'm talking about. Paul Pierce in the cult classic. I got stabbed 11 times and still managed to come back to play the entire season. Wait, that's not a movie? Well, it should be. In conclusion, Thunderstruck is bad. And finishing off this clusterfuck of bad ideas are the ones where animals play basketball, like Air Bud, where a golden retriever becomes a star of a basketball team, which is exactly what it sounds like. Actually, the first like 20 minutes are oddly dramatic and somber until a sad little kid meets the golden retriever who becomes a star of a basketball team. Then it's exactly what it sounds like. Well, actually, the golden retriever who becomes a star of a basketball team doesn't make a basket till like 45 minutes in, and then it's exactly what it sounds like. Okay, also the golden retriever who becomes a star of a basketball team doesn't even play in a real game to the very end of the movie. Look, I gotta be honest with you guys, this movie is not at all what it sounds like. Severe lack of dog playing basketball. Very disappointing. I put it about on par with Teen Wolf for movie where animal does basketball. The OC already covered everything I had to say about that movie.
I mean, how does being a werewolf make you a better basketball player?
Can't argue that one.
Thank you, Seth Cohen. Oh, I guess Space Jam also counts because the Looney Tunes are animals. So there is some crossover between categories. Probably a decent punchline somewhere in there with the word crossover having like 3 relevant meanings. 4 if I can find a way to work in the cult classic streetball film crossover. But like every movie I just mentioned, I'm way too lazy to fucking... Moving on. There's a miscellaneous category with movies like The Sixth Man, where Marlon Wayne's ghost brother helps him win basketball games. Yep. That's a thing. There are 4 movies starring Zac Efron. 3 of them are this.
And don't be afraid to shoot the outside, Jay. Just keep your head in the game.
But 17 again? It's okay. It's not a great movie by any means, but I mostly enjoyed it. It is completely serviceable surface level content, and so far on this journey, that is a fucking miracle, so great job. Quick little synopsis here. Former high school basketball star and current sad adult Chandler Bing used to be cool teenager Zac Efron, but now he's sad Chandler and he's all like, wow, could I be anymore? I hate my life. So now he's all like, oh man, being old sucks. I wish I was high school once more. And this fucking janitor clause guy over here grants his wish and makes him young again. But it's still the present day, so now he's Zac Efron going to high school with his Chandler kids. Then a bunch of cliche body swap comedy type shenanigan things ensue. But the actors are likable and they're having a good time, so I'm having a good time. You know, could I be having any more of a good time? Yeah, I probably could. You know, I had more of a good time with the movie Good Time, but that's completely irrelevant. So I give this movie 3. It's not as bad as High School Musical out of 17. Again. Now, while most of these movies are terrible, a lot of them were made for kids, you know, so I understand not to be expecting like Apocalypse Now level quality here. I am not who they had in mind when they produced these movies, and from that perspective, I can usually enjoy them for what they are. But The Basketball Diaries, I don't know who the fuck this movie was made for. It's just bad. Another quick synopsis here that I unfortunately cannot take credit for. Jim Carroll's life is all about basketball. He wants to be a basketball star, but unfortunately, he falls into crime and drug with his bad friends. They do drug, rob, and even murder. It seems like Jim has no way out of his drug addiction. His dreams is broken, piece by piece. The basketball in this movie is just Mark Wahlberg and a lanky-ass DiCaprio doing a bunch of weird layups, and the diary is some of the worst writing I've ever been exposed to.
I felt dazed, like I'd just come out of a 4-hour movie I didn't understand.
Watching these guys play basketball is just a miserable experience. But hey, not to worry. Pretty soon they trade in basketball for cocaine and heroin, and that turns out to be a significantly worse time. This movie should not exist. There are a few Sopranos actors in it though, so the highlight of my viewing experience was going, oh, she's in The Sopranos. Oh, he's also in The Sopranos. Oh, he just got puked on and he's in The Sopranos. That's neat, but it was kind of ruined by this. Like, did I really need to see bald Christopher?
I didn't.
This is by far the worst basketball movie for me, and I would recommend that you never watch it. Unless, hearing about a young Leonardo DiCaprio jerking off on a roof sounds like your idea of a good time.
Time sure flies when you're young and jerking off.
Ah, shit, I gotta watch Coach Carter now. I liked it when I was a kid and I saw it a bunch of times, but now I'm kinda worried. My deepest fear is not that it's inadequate. My deepest fear is that it's corny beyond measure. My main problem with Coach Carter is that it's so blatantly trying to teach you something. It feels like every 5 minutes they have to remind you.
Richmond graduates 50% of its students.
Richmond High only graduates 50% of its students. And of those that do graduate, only 6% go to college. College. That's a viable option for all of you.
You have 15 players on your team. You'll be lucky to graduate 5 of them.
Go to class. Winning basketball games is more important than graduating from high school and going to college. I'm sorry. I just can't support that message.
Basketball doesn't really matter. School matters. And go to class and get into college. And it's like, yeah, that's a good message and all, but help me out here, Barry. Is this a motivational speech by Eric Thomas?
No, it's a movie.
Right. And I feel like in a movie, you should try and implement your message in a more creative and artistic way instead of just being like, go to class and get into college. Well, shit, man, I was planning on going to college, but now, God, I think I have I think I have brain damage from you beating me over the head with a sign that says, go to class!
Everybody get the fuck out of here!
This movie isn't even that bad. I still sort of enjoy it. I just find it super cheesy and way too in your face with its message.
This ain't over!
What's this? Oh, just got a message from the mid-2000s. It says, hey, if you thought Coach Carter was corny, here comes Glory Road, like, yo ho, my complete lack of subtlety. In terms of subtext, this shit makes Coach Carter look like the Godfather. I do not like this movie. It's based on a true story, yet everything feels completely inauthentic. Things just happen for the sake of drama. It's somehow both rushed and way too long at the same time. In real life, the story of the 1966 Texas Western basketball team starting an all-black lineup and dealing with the racism and discrimination of that period of time is pretty compelling, but the movie just rests on that completely. It does almost nothing to earn the inspiring moments, nor does it try to add anything substantial to the story. It's not enough for a movie to just be like, oh, hey, you know that racism thing? Well, it's bad. It's not good. Yeah, no shit. But do you have anything new or interesting to contribute to that discussion?
No, I do not. Right.
The best part of this movie for me was the end credits where the real people were discussing what happened. At least there it felt authentic. This probably would have been better if it was a documentary, but it wasn't, and I don't want to waste any more time talking about it. So, there are two movies called Rebound. One rebound's bad, one rebound's good. So I guess Rebound rebounds off of Rebound's Rebound. Ah, shit, the good rebound came out for the bad rebound. Now I got a rebound for my rebound blunder. Double Teamed is a movie on Disney Plus, part of a prolific franchise. Yes, it's real. Go ahead, Google it. Might want to make sure you're alone first. I mean, I know Disney wants to take over the film industry, but I figured they'd at least draw the line somewhere. Welcome to Disney Plus, home of Mickey Mouse, Cinderella.
Porn!
Damn it, Randy, just pick your best one.
I'm sure it's a nice little family-friendly movie, but how that title got through production and marketing, I will never understand. Anyway, the good rebound follows the legend of Earl the Goat Manigault, a great basketball player who falls into drugs. Sort of like that DiCaprio one, except not terrible. It's actually a pretty compelling story. The legend of his nickname, not so much.
What's your name, man? Earl. Say what? Earl Manigault. You say nanny goat?
Now, it's based on a true story, so Earl's a real guy, but he has a kind of like mythical street ball status, you know, the best player who never made it. According to legend, he could do all types of crazy shit. He could do a double dunk without even having to hang on the rim.
That's two, motherfuckers!
He could jump up and touch the top of the backboard even though he's only 6 foot Don Cheadle. But the most impressive thing of all is he could put out a positive review of the 2014 independent film Nightcrawler starring Jake Gyllenhaal. This movie's fucked up without getting hit by a copyright claim from some bitch-ass distribution company in Germany who doesn't understand the meaning of fair use. Fucking cunts.
You say nanny goat?
No, I said fucking cunts. Keep up, LeGrand. Rebound, The Legend of Earl the Goat Manigault is a very good basketball movie. It's in my top 5. Rebound, The Legend of Martin Lawrence being Martin Lawrence is not very good, but I still enjoy it for some reason. Probably because I saw it like 100 times on pay-per-view as a kid, and now it's just a part of me. Didn't pay for a single one of those views, by the way. At least, not with money.
I sold my soul to the devil, I'll never get it back.
Okay, if I do a thing for all these movies, we're never gonna finish, so let me just rattle off a few more real quick, and if I missed any, I'm not even sorry. It took forever to watch all these, so if any Air Up There fans have a problem with that, feel free to give me some air down there. Okay, Semi-Pro. Waste of talent, not nearly as funny as it should be. The jive turkey scene is okay. John Tucker Must Die.
I'm anxious and bloated. My nipples hurt.
8 Crazy Nights is an Adam Sandler movie that I thought was good as a kid. Didn't rewatch it for this, so I could preserve that illusion. All I remember from this movie is this short, hairy guy screaming,
What do you say, honey?
There's Above the Rim, the one with Tupac. Pac was a good actor, and he does a great job here. The soundtrack is pretty decent. The rest of the movie, though, well, let's just say it starts like this.
That's all!
I think that speaks for itself, actually. There's a movie called O. It's an adaptation of Shakespeare's Othello. I have not seen it, but my mom would recommend it, so do with that what you will. There's Eddie with Whoopi Goldberg. It's not good. Okay, with that, we can finally move on to the good stuff. The movies that I unironically enjoyed watching. Alright, first off, Love and Basketball. Now, I know I made this transition sound significant, but this is the bottom of the good ones for me, so it's not like I didn't like it, because I did. It's just not super noteworthy for me. I thought the leads had good chemistry in the love story, and the basketball was decent. It was a competently made film, and that is really all I have to say. Finding Forrester. This is pretty much the Good Will Hunting of basketball movies, where the dude from Coach Carter is a good basketball player, but also an incredible writer who gets invited to a prestigious high school so he can play basketball and be a smart person. But his bitter old teacher has it in for him for some reason and can't fathom how a basketball player can also be intelligent.
God, he's a basketball player from the Bronx.
Eventually, Jamal, his name is Jamal, befriends James Bond Salinger, a fellow author who becomes his mentor. His name's actually William Forrester, but Sean Connery was James Bond. There's a famous author named J.D. Salinger. You get it. This movie's pretty good. It starts off with a random rap verse that I thought was dope. The dynamic between Jamal and William is compelling, and when there is basketball, it's very solid. Although it is a lot more focused on writing than basketball, but at this point I am too, so it was a nice departure from all the movies that are like, will he make it with basketball? Or will drugs / the streets / a girl / insert obstacle here stop him from achieving his hoop dreams? I don't think it had the same goal as Coach Carter did, but seeing the main character actually enjoy and excel at academics and not just basketball kind of plants a seed in my head that basketball isn't everything a lot more effectively than that movie did. Okay, now it's time for the heavy hitters, starting with a quintessential sports flick. What the fuck? I never referred to a movie as a flick before in my life. I don't know why I said that. Hoosiers. Honestly, at first I thought it was good, but a bit unremarkable. And the more melodramatic movies I watched, the more I started to appreciate this film. There's nothing super flashy in here, it's shot pretty objectively with a ton of wides, no gimmicks, it's pretty straightforward and minimalistic, and that's all part of its charm. Gene Hackman plays this coach with a shady past who moves to this,
This hick town, you mean?
I didn't say that.
That's what you're thinking, isn't it?
That's it, thank you. There's nothing spectacular about this town or the new team he's coaching. It's a simple story about a group of underdogs who try and elevate themselves with the game of basketball. The basic no-nonsense style actually greatly benefits this movie. Combine that with a vintage 80s score and some much needed energy from Dennis Hopper, and you got yourself a classic basketball movie. But we're not done with controversial coaches just yet, because right after Ben Affleck came out of rehab, he was like, well, if I can't drink anymore, I'm going to play somebody who can. And that gave us the way back in 2020, the best basketball movie I've seen in years. Dude has a drink in his hand in like almost every scene. I think he might have a problem. This movie is like if Coach Carter was maybe 10 times less corny, and if Hoosiers was like 10 times more visually interesting. It has a pretty realistic portrayal of what high school basketball is actually like, at least from my experience. It also has the most accurate depiction of why being a ref sucks and you can never win.
Yeah, that's a great call! That is a bullshit call.
On the flip side, relative to most basketball movies, there's a greater command of cinematic and storytelling techniques on display here. The music, lighting, and framing subtly accentuate the mood of a scene. The thought behind the cinematography is evident. It's understated, but purposeful. Best example of this, there's a nice long take about halfway through that is pretty seamless. It doesn't scream, "Hey look, this whole scene was shot in one take, pretty cool, huh?" at you. Like on first watch, I didn't even notice. But watching it back, it's clear that it took a lot of planning to pull off. And most importantly, it's the right choice for the scene. As Affleck's character slowly drifts back into alcoholism, the camera drifts right along with him. It's a great sign that the filmmakers actually give a shit about what they're making, and they have faith in their skills. And the confidence in those abilities results in a rewarding and nuanced experience. Alright, what else we got? White men can't jump. What? The fuck we can't? Watch this.
Oh, Ow! My back!
Alright, fair enough. This is apparently one of Kubrick's favorite movies, which is weird because I'm pretty sure I remember a bunch of white men jumping a homeless guy in that one movie about the oranges. But I digress. Now, I know I tend to overuse the word formula, but these movies tend to overuse the same formula, so. But White Men Can't Jump doesn't do that. It's refreshingly different and small scale. Adults are the ones playing basketball, so there's no story about trying to make it to college or the NBA. There's no long season or big team to meet. There are two main characters. The story takes place mostly over a few days, and the main focus is on character dynamics. The movie is all about hustling. Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes play streetball hustlers who hustle each other and hustle together. Their dynamic makes this film. We spend so much time with them together. The movie opens up with a 15-minute scene of them meeting on a streetball court, basically in real time, complete with lightning fast trash talk and some of the most random but hilarious your mom jokes ever.
Man, fuck you. Your mother's an astronaut.
If they don't deliver great performances, this movie does not work. But they do, and it does.
You can't hit fuck you. No, you can't hit fuck you. Good, fuck me. Yeah, fuck you. Good, fuck me. Now say we're feeling. Fuck you. Yes!
Overall, the movie just feels right. It's funny as hell, it strikes the right tone, and the few times it is dramatic, you feel those moments because you're invested in the characters. As far as fictional basketball movies go, this is my number 2, but I did watch one documentary for this video, and I gotta give it up for Hoop Dreams. Hoop Dreams is all about William and Arthur, two kids trying to make it to the NBA, and it follows them all the way through high school and a bit beyond. We get to watch them do normal things like hang out with their families and play ball. We We also see their financial struggles and their trek through snow to catch a 90-minute bus ride to school, all for the slim chance of making it in the ultra-competitive world of professional basketball. The film explores a lot of interesting situations, like when they both get recruited to a prep school to play basketball, and star player William gets a sponsor to pay for the tuition his family can't afford. Meanwhile, Arthur underperforms, so when his family can no longer afford the tuition, he's forced to drop out. The obvious implication being, if Arthur was living up to his on-court potential, he would still be attending that school, no matter what. If this was a fictional, based on a true story type of film, I doubt that it would be this high on my list. Getting to watch these two go down their different paths over the course of 5 years is really engaging, and the documentary fly-on-the-wall format is much more impactful than a lot of the melodrama these types of stories are typically infused with. You know, the thing actually happened, and you get to see how it happened. No false dramatization or overblown theatrics. The neutral narration can be unintentionally hilarious.
Arthur and Shannon spend their summer at Pizza Hut.
Heartbreaking.
In June, after 20 years of marriage, Arthur's dad leaves the family.
Or overly revealing.
Increasingly, this playground court has become a place to buy and sell drugs.
Now shut up, you fucking snitch. Whatever it may be, the objective nature of the information allows you to decide how you feel instead of being coerced into a certain emotion with formulaic storytelling. This is a great movie, but there is one that beats it out for me, so if you somehow made it this far, it's about time I answer the question that nobody ever asked me: what is the best basketball movie? That's right, it's finally time for that Paul Pierce getting stabbed. I'm playing, it's He Got Game.
He Got Game.
If you ever wondered why Denzel was so mad at the end of Training Day, it's because he was in this movie.
Playing basketball in Pelican Bay!
Well, technically he was in but still, He Got Game is a movie about choices.
What's this all about?
Well, I guess so are most movies, but in this movie, Denzel Washington made a choice that led to him winding up in prison. And now he's being offered a chance at early parole if he can convince his son, Jesus,
What type of name is that?
to choose to sign with Big State College. There are probably some other choices in the movie, but I made this revelation like half asleep at 4 a.m., and now I'm realizing that it's not as profound as I thought, so I'm gonna just move on. 10-time NBA All-Star Ray Allen stars as Jesus Shuttlesworth, and he actually delivers a really good performance. Truly a one-of-a-kind talent. He can play basketball in real life, and also play basketball while pretending he's somebody else playing basketball. Amazing. I'd put him up there with Rick Fox, who briefly appears in this movie, for best actor who played in the NBA. Having an NBA player who can actually act in your basketball movie is almost unheard of, and this movie has two. I feel like I could stop right there if I wanted to. Also, Public Enemy made a whole ass album for the soundtrack, so that's pretty sick. My only gripe with this movie is some of the egregious, "Hello nephew, I am your uncle and legal guardian since your father went to prison. But you already know that because you are my nephew and I am your uncle" type exposition at the beginning. But when most of it's being delivered by actors like Denzel and Ned Beatty, it's not so bad. This movie has a certain level of artistry that I think the other ones are lacking, and I would attribute that to Spike Lee. It's the only one of these movies where you can probably guess the director without seeing the credits. It's very visual, and there are a lot of unconventional techniques used, like montages and B-roll where characters directly address the camera.
The game brings me love, peace, and happiness.
Basketball is like poetry in motion.
I feel handsome when I'm on the court. You know, I feel like I'm somebody.
Aside from the cinematic techniques, what makes this movie unique is the more intimate nature of the basketball. Most of these movies in broad terms are like, here's a dysfunctional sports team. Then a new coach or something comes along, and after some turmoil, the team starts to bond and they somehow end up playing in the championship game and either winning or losing on a buzzer beater. Or free throws from a dog. Hell yeah. And that can be interesting. You know, I really enjoy the Way Back, Hoosiers, Rebound for some reason, and people seem to love movies like Coach Carter. But for me personally, the movies that deviate from that formula are so much more compelling.
I will never bring you water.
And because the basketball in He Got Game focuses mainly on Jesus training and getting basically abused by his dad, it's able to tell a uniquely personal story about a father and son that lends itself to an emotionally rich level of filmmaking that separates it from the rest of the pack. The beautiful thing about all these movies, though, is that no matter how cliche or predictable, whenever an underdog team prevails and hits that game winner at the buzzer, I get fucking hyped.
Yes! Fucking cool!
Honestly, I kind of fell off of basketball the last few years. Only reason I even watched the playoffs this year was so I could gamble and make some money. disappear from my wallet. But these movies help remind me of why I fell in love with the game in the first place. It's not just about basketball. You learn discipline. You create a bond with your team that goes far beyond just the basketball court. Watching the sport being played at the highest level is breathtaking. It's a beautiful game, and when played properly, it's like art. You become witness to a sort of athletic renaissance or Sistine Chapel. The players can develop a chemistry so harmonious to the point where they may as well have the same mind. It should inspire us and serve as a reminder that everyone has greatness inside them.
This is a comedy of errors, ladies and gentlemen.
Yo, I didn't even watch Thunderstruck.
Whack! Get out!